Alright everybody, welcome back to the Hockomock Motovlog. I am Jeff, and today we're interviewing this guy.
Pete!
AKA 508 Dyna.
From? Yeah.
Yeah. Or Scoob. You go by Scoob.
Yeah.
So he is a local Motovlog guy. The way I actually found him was through the ornery one, I think.
Yep.
Because you have 508.
I think you commented on one of his videos and we're both friends with him, and then you were like, 508, are you local?
Yeah,
then,
so 508's our area code, so I was like, oh, hey. And then I creeped a little bit through his YouTube page and started looking. I'm like, hey, I know those roads. So then we started conversing on there, and then Instagram and all that
through
fun
Instagram.
stuff. So, first and foremost, you are Scoob, 508 Dyna. What do you ride for a bike?
I got a Dyna.
Yeah. What year?
It's a 2015 custom Street Bob.
It is very custom.
It's actually factory custom.
Is it really?
Yes. Back in 2015, mine was brand new when I ordered it. You can go on Harley Davidson's website and order your Harley Davidson at the specs that you want.
Really?
Like my Street Bob, when it comes from the factory, it comes with mini apes.
Yeah.
Mine came with the drag bars. I got the Fat Bob drag bars on there with a paint job that wasn't available to that bike that year.
Wow. Can we still do that?
No.
Of course not.
They did away with it. They do away with the good stuff.
Of course they do. They take all the fun stuff out. So you have a custom Street Bob. So like I mentioned, you are a motovlog guy in the area. So how did you get started doing motovlog?
Well, I'm part of this group on Facebook called Riding For You.
Yep.
And they pair you up with people with special needs or disabilities or whatever it is. And I got paired up with this kid named Austin. And Austin has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. So I originally, on that group, all they want you to do is pretty much just, whenever you go for a motorcycle ride, whatever you do, post pictures, tell them the story, try to make the people, try to get those people, involved, make them happy and stuff. So I started doing that, and then I was like, I kind of got bored with that. So, and then I was like, maybe I can start making videos. So with the iPhones, they got the iMovie.
Yep.
So I just started making little iMovies through him and sent it that way. And then I was like, I felt like I needed to make him bigger, longer, try to, so then I started the YouTube thing. Actually, I already had a YouTube channel because I did stupid videos back then.
Yeah.
But then I was like, then that's when I got more into my YouTube channel, and I started getting in the cameras and the editing software and all that good stuff.
So it's funny you bring up the cameras, because when this channel first started out, he was one of the first people I talked to about how did you go about your setup, because we've talked about it before. As you've seen before, me and Alex spend way too much money on parts, and there's some shit that we don't want to spend money on, and one of those things is cameras, and that's why we shoot this on an iPhone.
Which a lot of YouTubers do, and they come out great.
This is true. So in talking to you, we went over cameras, and you were telling me, oh, this is a setup I run, this mic, and for somebody just starting out, it was really informative, where it was like, oh, hey, you don't have to go spend, say, $1,000 on a setup. It's the same thing, it just doesn't say GoPro.
My first videos were actually from Amazon they knock off GoPros and action cameras, and I think it was $49, and it worked good.
Yeah.
I actually think that it produces a better video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the volume is not there. Like the audio is horrible.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Right.
I guess. So with that, he definitely helped walk me through the setup, and then that's when I kind of came up with this whole interview idea, and I was like, I don't know if I want to shoot riding footage. So we talked about your bike a little bit. Let's talk about your channel. So you have way more subscribers. Yeah, you do. I got like 20. You've got like 380 or something last time I checked. Every time I shoot, this damn train comes by.
The train goes by.
You'd think I'd know better having railroad tracks behind here and working for them when I did, but yeah, no. So, all right, with your channel, so you do a lot of rides for Austin. You just dropped a video, though, with an FXR.
Yes.
That has taken off like wildfire.
Yes, I've gotten quite a few views on the FXR video, and it's only been out, I think, a week.
Yeah.
Yesterday made a week.
Yeah, so how did you find that guy? That's kind of
actually, did you see the other guy that I was riding with?
I did.
That was his buddy. And he actually lives out in Tennessee. And he brought his bikes up here, because he comes up here and visits every once a year, I believe.
Okay.
So he brings his bikes up here and trailers them, I'm assuming, because he has 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
So he has to trailer them. Makes no sense.
I mean, I wonder if we could ride 2 bikes at once. That'd be.
Riding 2 bikes. Yeah.
Well, actually, quick side note. There was a video I just saw on Facebook, and I almost feel like you shared it. I don't know. I might have tried to send it to you. I forget. It was in Russia. Of course, it's a Russian video. There's a bear in the sidecar. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. There's 2 guys riding, and then there's a sidecar, and this is like a full-grown damn grizzly bear just sitting there in a sidecar. And we were talking before we were shooting the video. I'm headed to Tennessee in a few weeks, and I was listening to Dave and Chuck the Freak in the morning, and they were talking about how there's a video that went viral from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is where I'm going, and a bear broke into somebody's car. So I was joking with Amanda before, I'm like, I'm coming home with a goddamn bear. And I'm going to teach him how to ride on the road line.
There you go.
In a sidecar. Maybe.
You got that big tour pack, you'll sit back there comfortably.
Yeah, we can make something happen with that. So now, here's the other question I got for you. So you do a lot of your own work.
Yes.
You had a little issue with your clutch recently.
Yes. Little.
Little issue.
Very little.
Little screw.
That turned into,
A big.
I'd say 2 weeks worth.
Yeah. So you, like I said, you do a lot of work on your own bike, and it's really kind of cool to watch you because you've done the crater fairing, the Fab 28 exhaust, which sounds amazing, by the way. I'm kind of falling in love with that exhaust.
I like it. I'm a big fan.
Saddleman seat, I'm pretty sure you run.
Yeah.
A couple different sets of
I
bars.
got 4 seats.
You have 4 seats.
I have 4 seats.
Why do you have 4 seats?
Well, the bike originally came with a Badlander seat.
Yep.
I was ordered with a Badlander seat. So after 45 minutes, I was like, this seat is not a good seat. So, and then I went with a Mustang Y Tripper seat.
Which I had on my Dyna.
And you had on the other, and that was okay for about 2 hours. No, an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's more or less the time frame. I'd be like, I gotta get off this bike. So then I was like, all right, I gotta buy a seat that's actually functional.
Yes.
So I'm looking and looking and looking, and I ended up going with the Sundowner seat.
Yep.
So the Sundowner seat is really comfortable. It's like this wide, you know, the padding's like this big,
Yep.
and
Oh yeah.
so it felt great, but it looked horrible. So,
yes.
and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll keep this seat for the longer rides. You know,
Yep.
when I know I'm going to do a longer ride, I'll slap that seat on, and then when I'm local, I'll put the Mustang seat on.
Yeah.
So then I ordered my exhaust. So Fab 28 was running a special. That seat was free. So Fab 28 was running a special. I ordered the exhaust through them, and I got the Black Flies edition. And then there was an option of a saddleman seat, a Bluetooth Lexan communication, a tuner, and there was something else. We had 4 options, and I didn't think I wanted a Bluetooth, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, do I really want another 4th seat? Because I already had my bike tuned. So I went with another seat.
There you
I
go.
went with the saddleman seat. So then, because my Y Tripper seat is brown, I was like, I wonder if I can make that custom. So I called Saddleman.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I got a seat on order from, because of Fab 28. I was like, can I change the looks of that? They go, oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
So they sent me
Order form thing.
a picture of the seat with different parts on
Yep.
it, and they're like, oh, what do you want on it, and what colors and everything. So
There you go. That worked out.
so I filled out the form and how I wanted it, what colors, and the type of material, and then I sent it back, and then they sent me the seat.
So where your saddleman seat is brown.
Yes.
Now there is a backrest or a piece of it up there. So I actually I typed in my VIN the other day on Google, brought me to a website, and I paid I think like $17 and did a VIN run. So I knew that there was people that owned the bike before me when I bought the Road Glide. I actually bought it from a guy in Fall River who was a used car salesman. Well, when I put the VIN number in, it showed up with all the auction pictures. Well, then it says this, owner 1 bought it this date, rode it this many miles, sold it. Then the second owner bought it. I was like, okay, I'm the 3rd owner. No, I'm like the 4th owner. So I was like, oh, well, that's weird. but it had the brown backrest. And I was like, oh my God, it's so ugly. Then I stumble upon your page a few months later, and you have this brown Salomon seat. And I'm sitting there. Now, my bike, for the record, is Merlot Sunglow, which is some fancy Harley color. The brown seat looked, I was like, oh, kind of wish I'd bought a brown seat now. The black, I mean, don't get me wrong, the black seat looks good.
Yeah.
But
And I kind of wanted to go with a brown at first, like the wide tripper seat.
Yep.
Just because I originally thought I was going to build my bike out to be a bobber. Like I was going to put
Okay.
apes on it, I was going to slam it. But then after doing those short rides with those horrible seats, I was like, this ain't happening.
No.
I was like, I need something that I can ride. So
Yeah.
that's why I went with the, that's why I did the T-bars and the fairing and
Yeah.
the saddleman seat, the sundowner seat, because I wanted to get more miles out of my bike.
So that's the funny thing. So we've talked about before on the channel, I owned an '07 Dyna, and you were talking about how you had the sundowner seat. So I had, I forget, it was a Harley seat, and I think it was the Badlander at first. And
It's really nice and sleek. It go, you know, really nice looking
I
seat.
had, I think, half an hour. My back,
Yes.
my sciatic, my back. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't. I just bought this bike. I can't do this. So I ended up. Now I'm thinking about it. I got the wide touring seat from Mustang for it, and I ran that seat. Like whenever I go on a trip, you're right. It's ugly. It's.
I don't know about the Mustang seat, but I know like the sundowner seat is a lot wider than the
Yeah,
back.
it's a similar setup, and it kills the lines of the bike.
Yeah.
But you're going for a long ride. I don't care how it
Right,
looks. I
right.
want
You
to be
don't care
comfortable.
what it looks like at that point.
Then I bought the Lucky Dave seat. And the Lucky Daves, I could do not as far, but Saddleman actually makes the Lucky Dave seat, and it was better than the stock seat, but it wasn't the Mustang, but it looked way so much better. Oh. So here's the other question I got for you. With your dyno, we were talking about it a little bit before, you've done a lot of work to it.
I've done a little bit. And there's always
more.
you're always thinking of what can I do next. I actually got a phone mount that I'm going to be doing another video on.
Ooh, what company did you go with?
I went with Rockform. No. Oh, Quadlock. I thought about Rockform.
All right. So when you do that, I'm curious. So I run the Zero on mine, and it's done well for me. I had it on the last bike. I don't know. Kind of want something a little different.
Yeah.
We always change stuff.
Yep.
But it's kind of funny. We were talking about different parts, building bikes, and
Cams. I want to do cams too.
all right.
That's
What cam? You have a 103 in your bike, right?
Yes.
So you have the same motor I do. What cam are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Woods 222.
Same cam I'm looking at.
Are you?
Yeah. So I called. So it's funny enough. I called Fuel Moto July when we're shooting this. So June, May, might have been May, and they said on your long trip, because I rode with TJ and Steph, the ornery one,
Yep.
where I met you. He said keep an eye on your RPMs, figure out how you shift. Call us back. So I called him back, and I was like, oh, this is where I ride between. They said get the 222. I'm on the fence between the 222 and the 555.
Yeah. See, when even though I got a Dyna, the typical Dyna guys, they like to ride their bikes to redline. Even when I think I'm riding aggressive, I'm shifting at 3,500,
Right.
3,800 RPMs. I don't even think I hit 4,000 RPMs.
There,
I might hit it once in the blue moon,
Right.
but I don't typically hit that. So
No.
I don't need anything crazier than, and it seems like the 222,
it's a torquey cam.
right, and it falls on
Right.
where I need it to be.
So it's funny. I left. So you're at the shop now with us. I left a house down the street. A couple friends rode up to Mansfield, and I was riding. There was a few beverages involved, which I don't condone, but things happen sometimes.
Coffee.
Yeah, it should have been coffee that day.
That caffeine gets to your head if you drink too much.
Yeah, all the coffee today.
Or
Right.
energy drinks.
There you go. That's probably like my favorite Monster.
Yeah?
The white one. Yeah.
Yeah.
0 calories and
0 calories.
0 sugar and all the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But so I rode up there, and I was riding very aggressively, and I normally didn't do that. And that was kind of one of the things in my head about keeping the Dyna, or what do I do? But even riding aggressive, now I had an 07 Super Glide Custom, so I had a 5-inch Speedo, no tack. So I couldn't tell what I was, you can feel what you're shifting at. But looking back, there was no way I was going above like you said, 4,000 RPM.
Because at 4,000, the bike's pretty much, my bike's is pretty much screaming.
Yeah.
You know?
And I had a thunderheader on mine, and I mean, even at highway speeds, I must have, guesstimating, I was probably only at $3,000, 3,500.
Yeah. Like for me to, when I'm on 6th gear and I'm at 3,200 RPMs, I'm well above 80.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? And it's not a sport bike.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like people have to realize that too. Like every bike, the interview we did the other day with the kid Matt, he has a 2010 Super Glide Custom, and he's more into the performance stuff. And after the camera stopped rolling, we were talking about shift points and how he rides, and he's a really aggressive, more aggressive rider than I would say I am myself. And I feel like the Dyna is the best of both worlds. If you want to go out and rip around, you can. You also want to take it easy, you can. Now, I have a question for you. So you just bought saddlebags.
Yes.
Well, not just bought them. You got them a little while ago.
Over Christmas time.
Yeah. So I had the same bags.
Did you?
I had the Viking bags.
Nice. I gotta do a review on that too.
So what do you think of them?
To me, they're fine. When you have a passenger, they're not so good.
Yeah. That was
Right?
that was the issue I had.
The feet.
The feet.
Yes.
And so it's funny, I got the Burley MX style pegs, and Burley sells two style of pegs for everybody. One style is wide and one's mini. For the driver, I liked the mini. My passenger liked the wide, just because it was a little bit bigger footprint, which I understand. With those bags on, and now they come off pretty quick. They're kind of a pain in the ass, but not
they're
hard.
bolted on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get the quick release. Did you get the?
No, I had the bolt-on ones. I ended up going with Leather Pro.
So you did. You swapped it up. Yeah.
I did. So I ripped them off. I liked the Leather Pros a lot more, but still the passenger would complain because you don't have a lot of room on the Dyna.
No,
It's like,
a smaller bike. Yeah.
but
it's
for
good.
me, the Leather Pros, night and day.
Yeah.
So on my Viking bags, before I created this channel, I was going to do a YouTube channel and make reviews. I had two giant complaints. One was the lock.
It's a little weird.
So I took it apart and spun it. You know how I forget if it's unlocked, your key doesn't come out or something?
Oh, it comes out no matter what now.
Oh, now they do?
Yeah. But you don't know if it's locked or locked by looking at it.
Right. You have to kind of... And the other issue I had too was, so if you don't know, the Viking bags, they're leather looking. I would say they're leather bags.
Yeah, they're leather. And it's a thick leather, so it's
Yeah.
hard to...
So they have, like the old school Road Kings had the...
It's not a soft leather either.
No, it's not. But they had like a belt buckle kind of.
Yep.
That's the best way. These ones actually have like a clip,
Yep.
which is nice.
Like a quick disconnect.
But then the other thing that blew my mind is you could also put a lock on the outside to lock the bag.
Yep.
But then there was a lock on top. And I was
Yep.
like, well, why are there two locks on it? But the big issue I had is, so I had the bags for about 2 months and the leather started to separate in a couple of spots.
Did it?
Yeah, so I called them and they're like, yeah, we don't know what to tell you. And I was like, we just bought these. Like, what the hell? But I will say, overall, that made riding that bike. So I had a backrest for the passenger, like I said, the big Mustang seat, and the Viking bags at first, and then I went to Leather Pros. But it made that bike so much better for me. I could put a jacket in there. I could put
Yeah. Now I keep my vest in there.
Yeah.
Even though I don't use it all the time, but like
Right.
sometimes when I get out of work, I got my work shirt. I don't be riding on a motorcycle with a, sporting my work logo
Right.
on there. So I'll put my vest on and I'm good to go.
Right.
I don't have to change or anything.
like the other thing too. Like I liked having, whether it was
Carry
on
my drinks in there.
that was what I was gonna say. A drink. Like I can't tell you how many times gloves, different glasses for night.
The sock. I carry
Yeah.
my sock now for my
The
air
intake.
intake.
But like, I forgot how nice it was having saddlebags until I put them back on. I'm like, and now I got, well, you see what I got over
Yeah,
there
that's a
now.
lot-
Now it's like, oh hey, I have a trunk, I can throw
A
this.
lot more
in.
storage.
Yeah, with a lot more storage, there's a lot more problems.
Yeah.
Because so when I did the trip up to Laconia and we ran to Vermont first, I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring a beanie and I'm gonna bring this and I'm gonna bring this.
And then you run out of room.
I didn't use half of it.
Oh no. Yeah.
Like the beanie, I ended up keeping my helmet on at Laconia because now I'm running the modular, so I can just
Yeah.
get the breeze that way.
I like the modular helmets.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I got the Ruroc full face. I never wear it.
Really?
Never. Once in the blue moon, I'll take it out, but I never.
It's depressing.
My Harley Davidson modular helmet is my best helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
And Ruroc doesn't make the best quality helmets, just so you know.
everybody's talking about it now.
$600 helmet?
Yeah, all right, I want to hear about it.
No.
Not a fan?
No.
Too loud? What is
It's loud. I mean, it's great when it's hot out.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of airflow in your head. But the quality, the padding,
it? Really? I'm glad.
I set it up. I put the Bluetooth on it so my wife, her and I can talk.
Yep.
You know the little snap things?
Yep.
The pad, you can snap it in.
Yeah.
I pulled it apart, put the wires in there. The snap things don't even go back together.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's
They're like
depressing.
squished flat. Gone.
All right, so you bring up Bluetooth communicator. How has that changed your ride?
You know, it's great when you're with friends.
Yes.
You could talk, you know what I mean? And you don't even have to always have it on.
Right.
You know, like my buddy could be listening to music, whatever. I'm not a music person. I'll just have it in there because he's the one that actually got me into it. He's like, oh man, you know, when we're riding, we could talk, blah, blah, blah. So at first I was like, yeah. I'm like, I was riding with an old school guy. He did everything with his hands. You know what I mean?
We were talking about this yesterday. So this video getting shot right now is Sunday. Saturday we did the interview with the 508 crew, who's Matt, and we were talking about it. It's really weird how like you come up with your own set of hand signals.
Yes.
And when me and Alex were on a trip going up to Vermont, I'm trying to do all these hand signals. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then we were joking about it. I'm like, yeah, dude, I got a Cena sitting in my room. He's like, what? You got a And I like, so my biggest complaint was, and this happened last year, I was out riding with one of my other buddies, Kevin, and he had a beanie on and I had my old full face, and he's like trying to talk to me and trying to yell to him back. And we all do the thing with a full face. You grab it here, yell, push it back up.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I first started riding, Kevin was the one that got me into the Bluetooth, and I forgot how much easier it makes life, because you can be like, hey, I need gas, or hey, I gotta pull over for a little bit.
Right. And you don't always have to be talking.
No.
Because my buddy, he loves his music, so he's out riding. I see him bobbing his head.
Yep.
I love the sound of the bike. I love to hear. I like to use my senses, like my hearing, sight, smells,
Yep.
of things that's going around me. Things that you normally
Miss.
like on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So if I feel like if I have a radio on in my ears, I'm going to miss things, you know?
So it's a double-edged sword. So when I had my Dyna, I had the Cena in my helmet, the Plex audio in the quarter fairing. The music helped the ride in a lot of ways, but then there was a lot of times where I would just shut everything off and get back to.
It puts you in the zone.
Yeah.
Like you get into the zone when you got nothing and you're just hearing the wind, the motorcycle,
And it makes it so much. It now, granted, with the Road Glide, I have the stereo in it.
Right.
Going down the highway, I love having the stereo.
Granted, I've never never left Massachusetts yet with my bike, believe it or not.
We're gonna have to change that.
I've never had the opportunity because I've never had the. Right now, I think I got it set up to where I can do long distance.
Yeah.
But I just recently got to set up over the winter, and it's just been a
This-
crazy year so far.
It really has.
So
It's
I
been really
haven't-
wet too.
Yeah, and wet.
Like it's.
July, I think we've had more rain now than April.
Yeah.
And May.
That's not a joke.
Crazy in July.
So, I will say, like, going down the highway, especially like when we're riding with TJ and stuff, like, we did a stretch from Western Mass all the way up to Vermont. It was great having the stereo. You know, cruise control, and I know you don't have cruise control on your bike.
Nah, I got throttle lock.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, the old school suicide switch?
I keep turning that little dial.
And just hope it sticks.
Okay.
But I will say, going down the highway, 75, 80, cruise control on, just kind of sitting back, relaxing. I'm not going to say it makes the ride suck less. It adds something to it. It
Right.
makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah. When I do go out, I'm going to use it driving as
Yeah.
an experience versus riding now. When I do longer drives, I do enjoy the radio. Just
Yeah.
because, like, different songs, like, you're into these songs, and it's like, all right,
Yeah.
right, and before you know it, an hour has gone by.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like that's that way with a bike. And then, like, when we'll do a quick trip down to Plymouth, or, like, I took Amanda down to New Bedford, and it's funny, like, I watch your video, and I'm like, oh, hey buddy.
Hey, buddy.
apparently Jameson's making a quick interview. But we rode down, and it's funny because on one of your last videos you show the storm breakers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm trying to explain to her, I'm like, hey, this is how it works, and she's like, look at me, she's like, really? And I'm like,
That wasn't a question. Was that a question? Yeah, that was a...
was that
Fairhaven.
Because we were down in like New Bedford where they have them, and I'm
Yeah.
like, by the way, New Bedford's completely changed from the last time I was down there. What the hell's going on?
Did you go by the south end?
Yeah.
Isn't it? When was the last time you were there?
3 years ago?
Oh, go by there now.
No, I did.
Oh, have you been down?
Yeah,
Like,
we went a couple months ago.
I don't know, like within 2 months. Have you been down there where they opened that new restaurant?
Hold on.
New Bedford, Cisco.
Yes. So I stopped right there. They were building the building.
You
And
should see how it is now.
I'm looking around like,
There's fire pits back there. They got music.
I'm like, is this still New Bedford? Like, what the hell?
It's pretty cool.
It's definitely changed. And I know that, the railroad is going to be going down there
Yeah.
pretty soon. But it just, like, I'm trying to explain to her, I'm like, yeah, so these are for like when the hurricanes and stuff come. She's like,
The hurricane barriers, yeah.
yeah, she's like, this could flood out. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, that was it. But like you said, like even riding through, so what? It's Ashley Boulevard, I think. Is it Ashley Boulevard? I forget. We were riding in, and like the last time I rode through there, I was like,
Would you go through Route 18?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, ooh.
Now there's all kinds of lights.
Yeah. I was not thrilled about that.
Yeah, there's so many lights, and it creates more traffic, more
Oh, it really
congestion. You know what I mean? Now I take the back roads. If I want to go to the beach area,
Yeah.
I'll take a back road.
Oh, really?
I don't even take that main road.
I was surprised, and like
So many lights now.
it was like good stop.
Yeah, and
stop.
before you could just buzz right through them.
Yeah, you could.
You know?
So I think, so you're local southeastern Mass
Yeah.
area to us. Alex asked me this on an interview when he interviewed me. What's one of your favorite rides in the area?
So far, Plymouth. I like doing Plymouth Mile Standish.
Wow, seriously great. I always forget about
They got
Miles Standish.
nice, windy roads. The only thing you got to be careful is because you get into those windy roads and you get a hill and you don't know if there's a car coming
That's true.
until you're there.
So this was a couple years ago. I was still on the Dyna at one point. So a friend of mine took me through, and I really wish I could find the road again. It was me on a Dyna, one of our other friends on a Softail, and he was on a road glide. So he was in front, I was in back, kid on the Softail's in the middle. Kid riding the Softail was an 06 Deluxe. And he took us through part of Miles Standish, through part of the ride. And this kid on the Softail had 18-inch apes. Boy can ride though. He's scraping frame. So we ended up at a gas station right off of Route 3.
Yeah.
And he's like, he had crash bars and he goes, hey, yeah, look at this. Tips the bike over. And the frame's just scratched to shit. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing, boy? But I will say Miles Standish, and the other thing too I will say that you got to be careful with Miles Standish is the sand.
Sand. Yeah, don't go at the beginning of the season.
No, there
Wait
is.
till it rains and it pushes
Washed
everything
everything away.
off to the end.
Because
of the road, yeah.
I've heard of stories, a couple people, especially the sport bike guys, that'll go and
Yeah.
they're coming in and dropping into those corners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, that's quite a bit of sand.
Yeah. Too much sand at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So you like Plymouth? You got any destination spots down there?
There was this place called T-Bones.
Yeah.
They closed.
They did. I frequented T-Bones.
Wasn't that a cool place?
That was a great bar. So for those of you who don't know, T-Bones was I'm going to call it a country bar. They were known for country music. But the really cool thing is there was bike parking out front.
And the windows would open up, so you're exposed to like
Yeah.
air. You know what I mean? It was really
So
cool.
the windows would flap up, and then they had these. I always joked about them being sex swings, but they weren't. They were just like these rocking chair swings that were they tied up to the ceiling, and like you could literally just sit there and just watch the bikes go by, or people would come in and park, and they made they had decent food and
Yeah. Yeah.
good drink there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really depressing. So they just announced it like they're done.
I think COVID-19 did them in.
Well, so the weird thing is the guy who owns T-Bones owns the building. So I don't know why it shut down per
Really?
se.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some,
Maybe there was something behind the scenes that we
I don't know. I think they own a couple of restaurants, and I know Plymouth had been real stringent on
Mark Anthony's, you ever go there? Is that Mark
Yeah.
Anthony's? That's another good place.
Down Onset there.
Yeah.
So
So burgers, Katie's Burgers.
Katie's.
Katie's, yes.
Yes. That's a local little eatery chain.
The burgers are like this big.
Yeah. But so with Mark Anthony.
And they got good names on them too.
Yeah. So you know how they have the hill like this right next to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I parked my Road King there many moons ago. Well, I went to get on it and might have had a beverage.
Coffee.
Yes.
Energy drink.
But it wasn't that night. But my foot slipped on some sand, and I just went right on the hill, and I was like, oh shit.
On a downhill?
Yeah.
Oh, so you had to pick it up on a downhill?
So of course, my luck having it, there's a cop sitting right there, and he gets out of his cruiser, he walks up, he's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, you been drinking tonight? I'm like, no. And
Coffee.
yeah, I had coffee. I actually had like a beer and then like a couple of sodas afterwards. He's like, oh. And then he saw like the pile of sand. He's like, oh, your foot slipped. I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, you want a hand getting this up? I'm like, actually, yes, I do.
Please.
So we get it up, and then I roll it down the street. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh, any damage or anything? I'm like, it's got crash bars. It's fine. I ended up breaking the highway peg, and I was like, oh, damn it.
Hey.
But that happens.
Things could be worse.
Yeah, no, they could be. So, question for you about your channel. So, how did you get your channel to grow quickly? Because you've been doing it for a few years, it seems.
Yeah, a couple of years. I mean, I've had it for a few years, but I didn't get serious until about last year. And then last year, I really, just talking to people and watching videos on YouTube, believe it or not, on how to grow your channel.
That definitely helps.
One guy mentioned TubeBuddy.
So we were talking about this before. So you've given me a couple of apps to download to help grow the channel, which everybody obviously wants. But I will say too, like you have a lot of great content you put out, like whether it's the rides or I know there's a ride where you got pulled over.
Yes. First ride of the season.
Did you get a ticket or no?
No.
What happened?
What happened was I was in a group ride with Black Phoenix Entertainment.
Yeah.
And there's another YouTuber. And he rides the Can-Am, so they had like a Can-Am group going. And I was in the back of the group almost. So I was in the back because I was like, I don't want my exhaust to, bother anybody or anything like that. So not that they wouldn't be bothered, but just in my head, you know what I mean? I was thinking that. So, and another reason why I was riding in the back of the group is because they have 3 wheels, right? So, and this was at the beginning of the season, so I was watching, there was sand on the road where I was. And I'm like, I need to go to the back.
Yep.
I'm like, I can't ride side by side with anybody because I need my whole road space.
Right.
You know, because if I need to ride this way, I can avoid the sand. You know, so that's why I went to the back. So they were just group ride. Everybody's going. The light's gonna turn red. They had a blocker. The blocker goes and blocks the intersection. So the light turns red, and I think I was the first one to cross that red light, which I was near the back though. I was the second to the back. The blocker takes off. And the cop, I knew he was going to come after me. I just had that feeling.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed in the video, I'm looking in the mirrors.
Yep.
Because I knew he was back there, and I'm like, he's going to bag me. So,
he bagged you.
Yeah, he pulled me right over. He didn't pull over anybody else. He pulled me over. So then he goes, oh, you guys have these big group rides. You can't be running red lights, da-da-da. And I'm like, hey, man. He's like, who are those guys? I'm like, honestly, I didn't know.
Right.
I was like, I knew one guy, he introduced me to the group and, offered me to go ride with him. And I was like, cool, I don't care what you guys ride. I'll ride with anybody.
Right.
Right? So, where was I going with that?
So, you got pulled over. And
so I got pulled over, yes. Yeah. So the cop pulls me over. Do I know anybody? I was like, no, I don't know anybody. I'm like, I only knew one guy. Then he goes, oh, when you catch up to that group, and I'm looking down the road, I'm like, they're gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, when you catch up to them, you got to tell them that they can't be running red lights unless they have a police escort. And I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, when there's a group ride, the officer is actually supposed to go to the front of the group.
Right.
To pull over, because whenever there's a group ride, whoever's in the front is the leader.
Right.
You don't want to give me that information because I don't know them.
Right.
You want to give them that information.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think like a big thing too is.
But I caught up to them and told them because I knew where they were going.
Right. So I think like one big thing too is like and I've done the rides where you have a blocker. I've also done the rides. There was one yesterday called the Polini Run that's out of Taunton. for a kid that passed away overseas. Blackbeard was a couple weeks ago, and those both have bike escorts. And doing a run like that, it makes life so much easier. When you do a group ride though, like the cops know, most of them ride. And like you said,
The cop that pulled me over was young too.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, he probably just doesn't really know, you know.
yeah, you just, like, let us go.
Right.
So you ended up, like you said, passing the information along. But you got to pay for a detail for that.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap by any means. I know a couple people I know have looked into it for different avenues and whatnot, and it's pricey. Like,
Yeah. And how do you feel about group rides?
it depends.
That's a topic for another
No,
video.
no, all right. I will ride with anybody. If
Yeah.
you're on a sport bike, you're on a Dyna, you're on a Sportster, you're on a Bagger, you're on a Honda, I don't care. Your knees are in the breeze. It depends on the group. I've been on group rides with kids on sport bikes doing wheelies, want to go 120.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah.
I think a pre-trip meeting needs to take place.
Yep.
This is where we're going, this is the route we're taking, so everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
And it should be thrown out. I'm not going to look at you differently. If you're like, hey, you know what, like, this isn't for me, like, all right, you know, I know sometimes bigger groups will take the highway. If you don't want to go on the highway, step up and say, hey, listen, I'm not comfortable with that, but where are we going? I'll find my way there. The other side of that is, I feel like some group rides, and I'm not picking on people with trikes, they think, oh, hey, you should ride side by side with me. Your bike is huge. On my road glide,
You got a wide bike too, yeah?
right.
Those are wide bikes.
I can't sit side by side with you.
Yeah.
You know, like with Alex,
Yeah.
we've tried the side by side thing, and like at a stoplight, yeah, like, all right, you pull this side, I pull
The
this
roads
side.
are wide enough, yeah.
You can do it.
I don't know. I don't think I would try that on those bikes. Maybe, yeah.
But going down the road, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You stay
Yeah.
split up.
And there's too many potholes to
Yeah.
avoid, and
Especially like when I was saying, when we were coming back from Laconia earlier, like we were staying like we tried doing the side by side thing, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, just we stopped for fuel, and I was like, listen, like, I know we always have a thing, you ride the yellow, I ride the white, and we'll ride like this. I'm taking the whole lane, just so you know. He's like, yeah, I was kind of hoping. I was like, okay, and we like that was all that needed to be said.
Yeah.
My other thing with group rides is it depends on who you're with. So we've never really talked about it on the channel. So first group ride of last season. One of the first interviews my buddy Mike was on, we left Mike's house and there was like 12 bikes. No pre-ride meeting, just, hey, we're stopping here, Dunkin' Donuts, we're gonna stop, get fuel, and then we're gonna leave from Carver and go out to like Situate or something. We go to leave, my buddy Kevin's with me, I'm 2 up, Kevin's 2 up, we're going, and 2 kids weren't paying attention, smashed into each other, right next to Plymouth Airport. Puts a taste in everybody's mouth,
and it's something
and
you don't want to do, man.
it's something you don't want to do, something you don't want to be a part of.
Right.
And then there was some words had between some people, which I might have said some things myself. The only people that can be blamed for that is the kid that caused the accident, and that's it. Like, you can give him shit, but at this point, he's already got kicked in the nuts. Like, he just hit his buddy, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Like, you don't need to keep going with it. But with group rides, there's people who can ride in packs, and there's people who can't. If you can't, don't do it.
And there's different levels of experienced
Yeah.
riders, you know.
Like, you get the people that can block the intersection and know how. You have, you know, like hopping on the highway.
Right.
I know, like, all right, hey, slam a couple gears, and then I'm gonna not lock it up, but I'm gonna slow way down, and not stop. But you gotta know to ride into the breakdown lane and then come up in front of me. And a lot of people don't realize that. There's a lot of dynamics to it. But one thing I will say too about group rides that I do like is once you do get to the destination, and
Yes.
everybody rolls in together, and
Yes, yes.
everybody, you know, there's people that aren't part of it, and they're all like, "Wow, look at all these motorcycles!"
Look
and,
at those bikers.
yeah,
Look at those badass people.
yeah. Look at,
Don't mess with them.
you can drop the F-bomb on this channel. I do all the time. Don't fuck with those guys. Or I always remember South Park.
Who?
South Park TV show.
I've never watched that.
Well, there's one thing, and
I've never watched it. No, I've never watched that.
they're making fun of like Sons of Anarchy, and they're like, Harley, blah. And it's like, I gotta keep revving my bike to listen, I gotta make sure it's still running. And it's funny, like, we were talking about T-Bones earlier. I was at T-Bones one night, and there was a guy on, I don't know, like an Evo Softail or something. And I'm sitting outside having a cigarette, and the guy starts the bike up, and he's literally just cranking on, and I'm like, dude, your bike's running, we get it, you have a Harley, like, tell me how little your dick is. Well, tell me how little your dick is at this point, man. And it was obnoxious.
Yes.
But so you do bring up.
I live next to a bar.
Oh.
And I get that sometimes at 2 a.m.
I don't get it.
I love the sound of Harleys, but not when you're rev bombing it at 2 a.m.
No, not at 2 a.m. There's time and place for that.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna probably try to wrap this up here. So we've covered a bunch of stuff. So, question for you: how can people find your YouTube channel?
508 Dyna for now. I might
For
be
now.
changing the name, but if you log on to 508 Dyna, I won't create another page. I'll just change the name on that one.
Okay.
And Instagram, same thing, 508 Dyna, D-Y-N-A.
There you go. So you post a lot of great videos.
Appreciate that.
You're super active on the YouTubes, which, like I said, dude, some of the content you drop, like I sit there and it was, for me, it was inspirational to watch because, you know, I can put a name in the face now. Like I can see him like, hey, I'm touching Scoob
We're
here.
touching each other.
Which is, it's nice to see, and you were super great in the beginning when I started this out, trying to, you know, get the channel off the ground. So you got the YouTube, you got the Instagram, you do post quite a bit on Instagram too. So that's how you find this guy. Definitely go check out his videos, like we talked about earlier. He did drop an FXR video, that blew up.
Yeah, that's getting quite a few views. FXRs are very popular.
Apparently so. And we were talking about
That and Mustang seats.
Yes. So do me a favor, if you can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go give this guy a follow. I guarantee you'll be happy with the content. There's a lot of great. He does a review on a Mustang seat, crater fairing, Fab 28 exhaust.
And if you hear me referring to Austin, that's the buddy that I ride for. So when I make those videos, I refer to Austin sometimes.
Yeah, and if you can, what's that page to? Because I feel like a lot of more people should do that.
What's that? Oh, Two Buddy?
Yeah,
Yes, Two Buddy, and then there's YT Studios, which is
YT Studios. And how, if somebody wants to get involved with Riding for Austin or something similar to that,
Riding for You on Facebook. It's
Riding
a
for
private
You.
group. You can join. You can request to join, and then they'll. When you get in, just tell them who you are, where you live, the state, and then they try to pair you with somebody that lives local, and all you got to do is share your experiences on a motorcycle. That's
Yeah,
all they
I think-
require.
you know, especially with nowadays, with how easy it is for all of us to do it, I think a lot
And we
more
all
people,
love doing that. We
Yeah.
all love posting pictures of our motorcycles, right?
I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're talking about bikes, and then, you know, pretty soon we're going to have, you know, riding footage. So, wrapping it up, if you can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can tell when I'm dropping a video. Alex is over there in the background.
Laughing.
Alright.
Yeah, he's over there somewhere. And do me a favor, go give this guy a follow, and
Appreciate it.
guarantee you'll enjoy the content. Till next time, keep the rub down, shiny up.
Yes, sir.